Hey everyone, I just pulled up my dehydrator and I'm going to make some herb salts and dehydrated oranges today. This is going to be a very quick project and also makes a very good last minute gift if you still need one for this holiday season. I am making two flavors of the herb salts today. I'm going to make one with lemon zest, oregano and thyme, and then I'm going to make a more generic one with oregano, thyme and rosemary. I will grab the rosemary from the garden. It's the only thing that I still have growing in the garden that I can harvest. Then the orange slices. So we're going to start now with the herbs. I'm going to use a food processor today to make it a little bit faster. I like to rinse my herbs before. I already rinsed them with some cool water and now they've been drying here in this towel for a little bit, and they're gonna get dehydrated anyway, so if they're not perfectly dried it's also okay. But I'm gonna start with the oregano. I love fresh oregano. This is probably going to be the longest part of it, is just to this stem, but it's not too bad. You know, they don't break as easy as the thyme. For the measurements, this is one bunch of oregano. I just got a bunch from the store. For this, you don't really have to worry about the measurements. I will measure this if you really need a guideline, but it'll taste great anyway, regardless of how much herb and salt you add there. It'll taste really good. This is such a great thing to have in your pantry for the winter. And when you make it yourself, it just tastes so much better. The herbs kind of dry a little bit better. They're not as brown, and I also don't really know how old those things are when you buy them, right? How long they have been actually sitting on the shelf. So when you make it fresh, it's a lot more flavor on the herbs itself as well. Also, don't throw this away. You can actually save this to make broths and stocks for the winter. So I like to freeze them with my veggie scraps and then just add to any stock when I'm making them. I will try to make a video making that as well to show you guys, but those hold a lot of flavor, so definitely shouldn't be wasted. We ended up with a lot of oregano. That's really nice. So I've got a mason jar here and I'm going to pack it just to measure. This is not necessary, but I do want to see how much we ended up with, and I can give you guys some sort of guideline for measurements also. So this, I would say it's about, I'd say 1 cup. Now let's move on to the thyme. And yes, thyme can take some time. It's not my favorite thing to do, to pick it. I've seen some recipes online where people just blend the stems also. Can rough chop it because the stems they can be quite soft, but since I'm gifting this, I want it to be very nice. So I am going to take it out the stem. It is quite soft though, I'm not gonna lie. Now that I am handling them, doesn't feel too bad. I'm almost done. Look at that. Actually, I find this quite meditative. You know, if you're having a little bit of a stressful day or just want to kind of like focus on something, this is great. I kind of feel a little bit more calm. It didn't take that long either. We anticipate thinking it's gonna take very long, but it was not too bad. I think this might be about half a cup. Let me see here. Hopefully it's more. Now with herbs, you can kind of press it there a bit because lots of surface area. Yeah, half a cup. Perfect. The next step is the rosemary, and the rosemary is also actually in my garden. Let's go harvest some rosemary real quick. Oof, so cold outside. So I have some rosemary growing in my green stock still. I don't want too much rosemary because rosemary is very strong. So from all the herbs, this is going to be the one to be just a little bit. We don't want to overpower too much. And I'm only using it for one of our blends today. So this should be enough. Okay, just rinse it and pat it down dry real quick. I should have done this with the other herbs, but oops, it's okay. Not a big deal. It's only a little bit, so it dries kind of fast. This one too, we only going to just strip out the leaves. So much easier. Also, there's not as many, so that's gonna take just a minute. It smells so good in here. Very strong. Smell the rosemary, it's great. Now the last thing we're going to do is to zest the lemon, and I'll teach you a restaurant trick here. This is a microplane, which I really like. It's one of my favorite tools in the kitchen. It comes with this little garden here. You can grate not only lemon, but it's good for garlic, ginger, for Parmesan cheese. That's mostly what I use for, but definitely for citrus. And I guess most times when you're using this, you usually will do something like this, right? Kind of little by little. Here's how I learned in the restaurant when I worked in fancy fine dining places. You go, you do the whole thing. you turn it. You go on time and you turn it. That way, you're not gonna get a lot of the pit and you're gonna be so much faster turning and just zesting. It's gonna take a lot less time than usually would if you're trying to kind of just go little by little strokes. Okay, and also you don't want to get a lot of the white in there. The pit's bitter, so be gentle, don't push it too hard, so you can get this just a nice citrusy part of it. There we go, very nice. But look, even the lemon doesn't look too bad. I'm gonna use this lemon for something else later. So fast. Okay, that's going to be for lemon herb salt. All right, let's start blending. Let's make the rosemary one first, the one with all herbs. Rosemary, I already divided the oregano in two, so that's how much you're gonna put this. And also already divided the thyme, so I'm going to bless this a little bit without the salt because I don't want the salt to get too fine. I'm using coarse kosher salt today. But let's first blend this very quickly. Just pulse. That's great, it's not bruised. Let's do 1 cup of salt. I'm gonna use the same mason jar to measure the salt. So 1 cup of salt. Guys, just noticed that I didn't turn on when I put the salt in. Let's do it again. I just put the salt and pulse it. And it looks just like this. It looks really nice, not too fine, which is good, and the apartment smells absolutely amazing right now. Just gonna pull this out and put in the tray. Take this one out first. Now we're going to dry out because the herbs are still full of moisture. If you put away like this, it will just spoil. Now I see I can only have space for one on this, so I'm going to do the other one in the oven, which is great. So I'll be able to show you guys how to do that too. Now let me try to evenly spread this, and it's good that the salt's still a bit coarse. I think it makes it to look a lot nicer. So we're gonna put it in the dehydrator. All right, let's make the other one. Okay, so I just added the thyme, the oregano, the lemon. Now we're going to blend a little bit first. Now let's do the salt. 1 cup of salt again. Beautiful. So this one we're going to put in the tray with parchment paper to go in the oven. Now that we're done using this outlet over here, I'm going to move the dehydrator so we have a bit more sun and we can see what we're doing here. Let's put our salt in our baking sheet. I just trying to spread nice and evenly here. This smells so amazing. Oh my god, the lemon zest really made it smell delicious. This is going to be a really great seasoning. This one is gonna go straight in the oven and it's going to stay there for 30 to 45 minutes or until it gets really dry. My oven goes as low as 170. I know some of you only have ovens that go down to 200. It's fine too. Do 200 at 30 minutes and then check and see how it looks. Now let's go slice some oranges. If you don't feel a little scared to try to slice them this thin, you can always use a mandolin. I'm gonna try to use one and see if it works. I never tried, I always did by hand. I'm doing mine very thin because I want them to dry fast since this is for a gift. Totally okay to be a bit thicker too, just have to wait for it to dry a little bit longer. That's it, even one orange gives you a lot of slices. Going to actually move this out of the way and put it on the top. They're so juicy, I kind of want to eat them. Alright, put this on the top and then we're gonna slice the other two real quick. Alright, now we're just going to arrange the slices into this dehydrated trays. Maybe I'm just going to need 2. Let's see. I'm going to do all of this in the dehydrator. You could do it in the oven too, just going to take a little longer, but it'll be the same temperature. You do the lowest that your oven goes, and you dehydrate them until they are very dry and brittle. If you leave some moisture in there, they're not really gonna get brittle because they're, the citrus, but if you leave some moisture in there, they could mold, so it's very important that you keep them very dry. I have the salt here, it's going to be the top layer, so I'm gonna put this in the side. And I'm going to put this 2 here on the bottom. Now we're gonna add the last salt layer in there. I'm actually going to set this up for 135 and I'll start with 6 hours. The salt's going to be done earlier, but that's easy for me to see. So I'll just pick it up. When I start, it makes this sort of loud noise, but that's pretty easy. Just gonna leave this in there and it's gonna do all the hard work for us. So it's the next day and everything is ready. Let me show you guys how all turned out. I have this salt from the oven here. I ended up putting about 30 more minutes to dry a little bit more. It wasn't a very thin, even spread layer, but I felt a little bit of moisture in there still, so I just added extra 30 minutes and it came out really good. You can also leave it outside after you blend it. You could leave it in your counter for 1 to 2 days and let it naturally dry out, but just put it in the oven really speeds up the process. So this is ready. That's the lemon and herb one. And here we have this is the herb salt, and it's very nice and dry as well. Here's how the oranges look, very nice and dry. So what you're looking for when you're making this, they have to be very dry, like they can't bend, you know, they're nice and not brittle, they're nice and hard. So you know that all of the moisture is out of there. That will ensure that they will last a lot longer for you. So that's very nice. They're very nice and dry. They kept the color well this time, which is good. Some of them are a little bit thin and bent, but it's okay. We're going to use all the straight ones today. And now I'm going to show you how I'm going to pack this up. I'm using these little jars for the salt, and I'm going to use a little bit of this twine for the oranges and the salt too, just to make it look a little bit more festive. So I'm going to start just with this. I'll get a little scoop and put in this container. We're gonna fill it up. The one with the parchment paper will be easier. Here how it looks. We're gonna put a lid on. Let's actually transfer this to a bowl so I make sure that I don't lose any. See, I already got some salt coming out. There we go. Oh, perfect. I'm gonna have leftover for myself. Let's see if with this I can just use the parchment paper and pour it in. Okay, now we're going to make this pretty and add some twine. Just around the jar, nothing very fancy, but I think it looks a bit more festive. Maybe the twine is a little bit too big, but I think it looks okay. Alright, I did some of the big one too. I think it looks cute, a little rustic, but that's the spirit, homemade gifts. Now for the oranges, we're just going to bundle them up. I'm gonna get a few of them, maybe 4 or 5 or more. Let me see what would look like a nice bundle. How many? I love dehydrated oranges. Okay, I'm just going to do this and we got the idea. That's how it looks together. I'm also going to add a little bit of lavender to my gift. I have some dried lavender from the garden that I have kept in here. So I guess a little lavender with orange and some herb salt makes a thoughtful gift. And if you're not gifting this, you can just put them in a mason jar with an airtight lid and it will last you a very long time. You can use it in teas, you can use it to make festive drinks, you can use for decoration, to hang around your house now in the winter. I hope you try to make it at home as well. This is a very fun project to do, to use things from the garden and also things in the kitchen that you want to preserve. Well, if you bought lots of herbs for the holidays too and you have some left over, this is a great project to do. You have delicious herb salt to season your meats and stews and soups. I think that's very nice. So thank you so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I really appreciate it if you can press the like button. That really helps the channel. And also feel free to share the video too with your friends if you think someone else would enjoy learning how to make this. Thank you so much for watching today and I'll see you next time.